friends. I'm Karen, and this is the Family Food for Moms podcast. We're talking about inspiration for family cooking and dining. Today, we're going to be talking about cooking in sauces. Instead of making a sauce separately and then adding it later, which can be delicious, cooking in sauces is really going to enhance your meat or your vegetable that you're busy cooking. So I wanted to talk about cooking in sauces rather than adding them at the end, as one of the easiest ways to make your food deeply flavorful, juicy, and hard to mess up. It's how many of the world's best comfort food dishes are made. So cooking in sauce, what does that mean? It means that your protein or your vegetables will finish their cooking inside a liquid. They won't usually start because it's good to brown the meat first, but the finishing part of the cooking is inside a liquid like tomato sauce, curry, coconut cream, broth, ordinary dairy cream, etc., so that they absorb flavor while staying moist. So think of chicken or fish simmering in a tomatoey sauce, fish poaching in coconut cream or milk, meatballs in a marinara sauce, lentils in a curry sauce, etc. This is part of our cooking skills series, basic skills that it's good to know as a cook at home. So think about your method if you're going to cook in sauce. Pretty much every dish follows the same kind of flow. So there's 5 steps. So the first step is to build your flavor. So that means you're going to take some oil like coconut oil or butter or even olive oil, and you're going to cook things that are like aromatic, like your onion, garlic, ginger, and even your spices. So you chop an onion finely, you add it to the pan with the oil or butter in it. You chop a bit of garlic and add that a little bit later. And then lastly, you would add a little bit of chopped ginger or your spices to the pan to toast them nicely. Then you're going to sear your meat. So you season your meat after it's sat out on the counter for a while. You add some nice salt and pepper to that and you sear it. You want a good hot pan for a nice dark sear that's deeply caramelized and brown. You definitely don't have to cook your meat through. This is just to get your flavor going, to seal in the moisture in the meat and to start the cooking process. Then you're going to add your liquid. So we're going to finish off the meat in a liquid instead of just leaving it as is to finish in the oven or in the pan. So you're going to add your sauce, which would be maybe tomato puree, tomato and onion mix, stock, maybe some cream. You can add coconut milk or cream as well, or instead of your cream. And then you're going to turn down your heat so you simmer gently. So this is where the magic happens. You've got to make sure that it's not too hot, it's not boiling, but it's like on the edge. So simmering gently, and the food is gradually going to cook in the sauce and absorb that flavor from your aromatics and from your sauce. And it's going to be amazing and juicy and tender. And then number 5 would be to finish. Adjusting your seasoning. You're going to add fresh herbs at this point because you don't want them to cook too much. You're going to add some acid like lemon juice or lime juice or lemon zest. You're going to add some cream or butter if you want to make the sauce extra good, just to change the flavor of the sauce slightly. Like if you have a tomatoey sauce, adding cream softens that sharp tomato flavor and makes it lovely and creamy. So that's adjusting your seasoning. So I'll mention them again quickly. So you build your flavor by cooking your aromatics. Then you brown or sear your meat. Then you add your sauce base or your liquid. And then you simmer gently. And then you finish by adjusting the seasoning and anything else you need to add, like the cream. So this is kind of fun because as you understand the structure, you don't need recipes. You can just build a sauce and a protein being cooked in sauce. So here's a formula for building the sauce, which is composed of exactly what we added during the steps. So there's the fat, which carries the flavor. So that would be butter, coconut oil, etc. Then there'll be the aromatics or the flavor base, which, as I said, is the onion, garlic, ginger, chili, other spices. Then number 3, the body, what it's really made of, whether that's stock, cream, coconut cream or milk, tomato puree, etc. And then the seasoning, the salt, the herbs, perhaps more spices, something like soy sauce. You could add something sweet like honey if it calls for that, and then acid like apple cider vinegar, lemon juice, lemon zest, etc. So let's talk about tomato-based sauces. So these are rich and comforting. They work if somebody doesn't eat dairy. They work best for chicken, meatballs, white fish. So that would be a Mediterranean fish bake. So something like hake cod would be delicious. So you're going to first cook your aromatics, as we've talked about. Then you're going to sear your protein, except for the fish. The fish you can sear the bottom if the skin is still on. Then you're going to add your sauce. So tomato puree is a safe one. If you like a bit of chunkiness, you can do a tin of chopped tomatoes or chopped tomatoes and onion or basil. You can do crushed tomatoes. You can even add a little bit of tomato paste for extra flavor. And you can add some broth as well to this one. Goes well with the tomato sauce, but not too much. We want it not to be too thin. And then you're going to simmer gently till cooked and then season at the end. If it tastes a bit too sour, you can add a bit of sugar. You can add olive oil and a bit of garlic, crushed garlic to the sauce with some herbs like basil. That makes it amazing. And definitely don't boil it too hard because that toughens the meat. Then a coconut cream sauce. This is soft and luxurious. So when you get a tin of coconut cream, often it will be separated into the thick cream and the thin coconut water. So you may want to pour out the coconut water and drink it or add it to a smoothie and just use the cream because that's lovely and thick. Or you could just add the whole amount because some of the moisture is going to boil away anyway. So this works great for chicken and fish, shrimp or prawns, and vegetables like chickpeas or gnocchi. So you're going to again build your spice base. You may want to use curry paste, garlic. Then you're going to add your liquids, so your coconut cream or coconut milk. Then you're going to simmer gently on low heat. Coconut cream and dairy cream should never boil. That can make it split. It can simmer at a low heat. Then you're going to add your protein, cook it in the sauce, and then you're going to add your extra salt or herbs or lemon zest. For fish, a great one to use is thyme. Thyme works well with chicken as well. And then the lemon zest really lifts that one at the end. Then brothy sauces, very light, kind of healthy, clean feeling. This works well for chicken and things like dumplings. And you can use a combination even of broth and tomato sauce for meatballs. This works great for vegetables. So you're going to bring your broth to a gentle simmer. Then you're going to add your ingredients and cook them slowly. Keep it barely boiling. And this works well for tender, juicy results. And you add your herbs at the end for freshness. Then thick braising sauces. This is kind of slow and deep cooking. It works well in a crock pot. So this is good for tough cuts like beef, lamb, pork shoulder. So you're going to brown your meat well, and then you're going to add the thick liquid, which would be your stock and maybe some wine, some red wine, which you would use to deglaze a pan after cooking your aromatics. Add that, maybe a bit of tomato paste or tomato sauce to get a good flavor, and then you cook low and slow for a few hours. The sauce thickens as it cooks. The meat becomes very tender and falls apart. So this works in the oven as well, but it's perfect for the slow cooker. So just to recap, the things we want to avoid when cooking in liquid or in sauces is boiling instead of simmering. That makes the meat tough and it makes sauces split. So keeping it at a gentle bubble. We want to avoid overcooking delicate proteins like fish and chicken. They will dry out. So they need to be just right. Flake apart without being dry and overdone. So with delicate proteins, you can add them a little bit later once the sauce is going. If it's, meatballs or beef steak, it's great to add them right up front. But delicate fish is going to be a shorter cooking time, so adding it a bit later is a good idea. Another mistake we want to avoid is not seasoning in layers. It's good to season your protein before you brown it or add it to the sauce. You season your sauce a little bit by starting with the aromatics, cooking your onion, your garlic, your spices, your curry, your chili, etc. And then when you finished cooking the protein in the sauce, you season again to make it taste really good and add extra things like your lemon zest, your basil leaves, garlic, etc. Otherwise, you have a flat tasting sauce. So we season at the beginning and the end. Then you don't want your sauce too thick or too thin. If it's too thick, you can add a little broth or water. And if it's too thin, you simmer without a lid on to reduce it a little bit, but not boiling too much. A gentle simmer again is good. So it's great to pair chicken with tomato, cream, coconut, or broth. Fish goes well with broth, coconut cream, and then maybe a light tomato flavor like a Mediterranean fish. Beef and lamb go well with thick, slow cooked sauces, and veggies, everything works. So you should choose something to start with and try either some chicken or some fish in coconut cream and just try using these steps and see what you like and how it turns out. And hopefully it's very easy for you to tweak a little bit and do what you enjoy. You can try a beef stew in a slow cooker with beef chunks, a bit of stock and tomatoes and carrots, potatoes. You could try a fish with a lemon butter sauce. You add some lemon juice to your liquid, like your coconut cream or your stock that you're cooking your fish in. You could do a chicken curry with chicken pieces, coconut milk, curry powder, onion, and garlic. You could do meatballs, even store-bought ones that makes it easy, in a tomatoey sauce with garlic and herbs like basil. And then you would brown your meatballs first. So try some of these ideas and see what works for you. One option I didn't mention is the Instant Pot. That's very good at tenderizing your meat. And generally you add liquid in that and it cooks in that and it helps to make it tender and juicy. So for those, you'll need a recipe, but look for something if you'd like to cook maybe beef stroganoff or a beef roast, or even meatballs work well in the Instant Pot. So thanks for listening today. I hope you have some ideas from this that you can try, and I hope you're feeling inspired, and I hope you have a great cooking week. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time.